All right. Buy or sell here? A few different categories here, and I'm interested to see how our notes stack up against each other. We'll start out with you, Dano. The Penguins. Are the Penguins going to are they setting themselves up here for a long playoff run? Are you buying that, or are you selling that?
I'm going to buy, and there's a couple of reasons here. With Malkin's return on the horizon, with the depth they have throughout the lineup, in the past, in my opinion, if it wasn't Malkin and Crosby doing the damage in the playoffs, they could be in trouble. I know they got Rust and Gensel and certain other players that contribute, but they still rely on those guys too heavily. It's a more balanced team. And my biggest reason they're as well coached as any team in the league. Mike Sullivan gets their players to play the style that you need to be successful come playoff time. Now, some people are going to question Tristan Jarry. Struggled last year against the Islanders in the playoffs when they were ousted. Having a Vezina-type trophy winning season right now, one of the best goaltenders in the National Hockey. I think last year it was a big learning experience for him, and I think he's going to be much better this time around. I'm buying. I think the Penguins can go deep in the playoffs.
And I think Tristan Jarry got, the big pat on the back from Ron Hextall by not going out and getting somebody else. But I really like this team, and I think Mike Sullivan's a great coach. I guess my question is, Rupper, what's a deep playoff run? I think they win around, but really go deep? No, I'm selling. I think as I look at the division, I've been really impressed with, obviously, with Carolina. I like what I'm seeing there. I feel like if any team in that division, maybe this is the year for them. And Washington has really opened my eyes. I actually thought Pitt was going to be good to begin the year. And then Washington, I wasn't sure about. I've been really, really impressed by Washington. They've done it in fits and starts with different lineups. So I look at Pitt and I say, I like what they've done. I like the fact that Dana said they've done it without Malkin, and he's going to come back. I just wonder if Jarry will be able to bring it enough and go more than a round, let's say. So a deep playoff run, I'm selling on that.
All right, I like some of what both you guys said there, but I'm going to go with buying. I'm going to buy this, and I think Tristan Jarry is a top 5 goaltender in the league. He's been fantastic from the get-go this season. There's one little thing, though. I don't know. Maybe it's like a little. I'll pull the pin on the grenade of drama, and we'll chuck it in there. It's Evgeny Malkin and Chris Letang pending UFA, so that's going to be a big point of emphasis. Are they going to get signed? Are they going to trade them come trade deadline time? I mean, that's really interesting for this year and for the future of this team. But if they can get those guys, keep them in here, go on some sort of run, I think Mike Sullivan's got this team playing a particular way and being healthy.
If they trade those two guys, which I guess is a possibility, then I'm selling. Because they need Malkin.
They get rid of their best players. If we get rid of their best guys, we don't like them anymore. But if we got them, I don't think they will. I don't think they will. But that's something to think about here. That's a tough decision. So that's one. Here's another one here, Dano. The Maple Leafs. Are these guys going to win a playoff round this season?
No question, I'm buying.
All right.
The Toronto Maple Leafs will win a playoff round, and in fact, I think they may win a few. I think they're poised and ready to do just that. They've got enough grit, enough sandpaper now, and they've got a goaltender playing as well as any goaltender in the National Hockey League in Jack Campbell. I think Austin Matthews' maturity and certainly Marner and the year Nylander's having, these guys are poised and ready to play playoff-type hockey. And yes, do their thing offensively, but they've got more of that it factor. Just watching them play this year, I mean, they can play tighter defensively. Yeah, goaltending's such a huge part of it, and Campbell's playing terrific, and I expect him to do that in the playoffs as well. I just think finally the Toronto Maple Leafs are ready to do some damage in the playoffs. I like the makeup of their team better than any of the previous years.
Well, I guess I've got him. You got to prove me, right? Prove it to me. Seeing is believing. I do think they're more mature. I think Campbell's been great regular season. Come playoff time, here's the reality. I mean, sure, they could end up in first in the Atlantic. They've actually got games in hand on Tampa and one on Florida. But if they don't finish in first, they're either going to play Tampa or Florida in that first round. And I really like both of those teams this year, which could provide a real conundrum for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I'm selling. I'm just going to go with it, just saying I mean, I think the expectations too, Rupper and Dano, the pressure, is something that I don't know if players that don't play in a market like Toronto, if they can recognize, or any of us can recognize. I think that pressure is going to be ginormous on them to finally win it for a lot of the things that Dano said. And I'll take the sell factor right now.
Yeah, I'll be quick on mine. I'm selling this through and through because I'm selling this one because the worst place to finish in all of hockey in the entire world is second or third in the Atlantic Division. I don't think this team's going to get the first spot, so they're going to have the Florida Panthers or the Tampa Bay Lightning.
So you don't believe there will be one upset come playoff time?
Toronto is not better than either of those teams, so I think they get knocked out in the first round.
Jackie Redmond's
She's not here right now to defend.
Not going to be happy with you, Upper.
The Connor McDavid. Is Connor McDavid, is he going to win a Stanley Cup at some point here with the Oilers?
Well, this is a lukewarm buy. I think in the next 5 years, 7 years.
You are from Edmonton.
I'm from Edmonton, so I may be a little biased. This guy is so unbelievable. They're going to figure it out. They're going to surround him with the right pieces. They're going to go out and get the right goaltender or draft him. So, yes, Connor McDavid will win a Stanley Cup with the Oilers. I'm not sure if it's 5 years, 8 years, but I'm going to say once.
All right. Billy?
Yeah. I'm buying this probably more than Dano is, if only because if you look at the history of the all-world players in this game, Rupper, over the last while, almost all of them, and I'm talking the uber stars, end up winning a cup. And they're, talking like a guy like Ovechkin, he finally got his cup, a couple of years ago. Obviously Crosby got one younger, but they end up working it out. Eventually, it takes time. But when you've got the all-everything player, and they don't have just one, but two, they got with Draisaitl on that team, eventually, and it still might be painful getting there, but I do think they'll figure it out, and I do think he will get one Stanley Cup in Edmonton.
Well, I'm going to sell this one. I'm selling this one because, just like you said, Billy, I think it's a great point. It took Sid some years. It took Ovi even longer. I just don't know if Connor's willing to wait that long. And I think there's going to start being pressure from at some point here. I mean, how many years in, and this team just kind of still seems like they're middling here, and they're not really getting better to that next level. So I don't know. I don't know if I think he'll win one at some point in his career. I'm just not sure that's in Edmonton right now. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a real tough one for the Oilers to turn this around. But they got two of the best players in the world. But we'll see what happens. The Anaheim Ducks, are they going to make the playoffs this year? Are you buying that? They are making the playoffs this year. Are you buying that or selling it?
I love what the Anaheim Ducks have done thus far. They've been one of the big surprises of the National Hockey League. They've got great young players, and they continue to be a team on the upswing, but I'm selling. I just think it's going to come right down to the wire, and I know they're sitting in second place in the Pacific right now. The Calgary Flames have 5 games in hand on them. They're in third. Having said that, great story. But I just think reality will set in, and they're a year away. I think they're making it the next year with this young core. Love them, but I think it's going to be right down to the last week that they just get edged out, so I'm going to sell.
I'm going to use Dano's term of lukewarm, but since they're out in California, I'll say, comfortably, kind of warm. Listen, I think it's going to be tough for them too, but every year we have one team that makes the playoffs that makes us feel good about a team making the playoffs. And maybe when it's all said and done, the reality is they're a year away to do any damage. And I think that where this team is, but Dallas Aikens and his staff is revamped staff there with young players. It does concern me, of course, young players being able to sustain it down the stretch. But you've got Gibson in net. You have some other good defensemen there. I'm going to say they figure out a way, Rupper, how to make it. I'm not fully putting down the full payment on this one, but buying the house, but I'm kind of buying it. And I'm going to say they're going to will their way in somehow, some way. It's going to be tough because, Winnipeg, I think you said it earlier in the show. I think you used Rupper. I think Winnipeg has to get their stuff straightened out and get themselves on a run. So it'll be tough, but I'll say they figure out how to fly into the playoffs.
I love what they're doing here. I love the future of this team and the opportunities down the road. I just think some of this is out of their control because there's better teams I think are going to be heating up in the second half of the season. So I'm going to sell this one. I do love what they're doing. They're one of the most exciting teams to watch in the NHL this year as far as skill, putting the puck in the net and all those good things. I just don't know if this is the year for them.
I will say that Pacific Division has been the surprise to me.
Yeah.
We thought it was going to be one of the weakest divisions. It's been one of the strongest. Competitive level there is just fantastic. And the Ducks and Kings have raised that bar, along with the Sharks as well, playing some real good hockey as well over the year.
Yeah. The last one we got here, Dano, this is just for you, but no, this is for all of us, but I want to hear what you got to say here. The Devils, are the Devils going to be playing meaningful games in 2022?
Well, you know the obvious answer from me. I might be a little biased, but I think they're going to continue to grow and play the way they have been lately, and they're going to play some meaningful games, let's say in March. I'm not sure they're going to have enough. The Eastern Conference is so tough to be a playoff team this year, but why not? They've got to believe in themselves. They made a big run in 2018. Nobody expected it. But I just like the makeup right now if they stay healthy with a 1-2 punch of Heischer, Dawson Mercer. They've got is played very well as a rookie, and the defense is much better. If Blackwood takes the bull by the horn and gets back to being that consistent, upper echelon goaltender, he's starting to play better. There's a lot of factors in there, but I think they could be playing some meaningful games in March. But they're going to have to go on a real good run here. They've started well with 3 in a row. And like I said, Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes had not been on the ice, had only been on the ice together in the same game 8 times this year. And they envision that these two guys, and even though young, could really kind of bring some consistency, continuity. And they've done that after the break here with a 3-game winning streak, so we will see.
Billy.
I'd give nothing more than to see my good buddy Dano driving to the pregame with REO Speedwagon blaring, getting ready, chomping on a cigar, getting ready for pregame, dressing up to go on the ice again, Dano. But that would mean that the Devils aren't playing meaningful games in lately. And now, you know what, but all kidding aside,
I said only early March, Billy.
No, I think this about the Devils. I think that they're going to be one of those teams that is going to create havoc for another team in the East because they are going to play feisty, strong hockey down the stretch. Whether they are legit what we call meaningful games towards the playoffs, likely not. But I do think because of their DNA, led by their coaching staff, actually by their general manager and their coaching staff, I do think that they will end up being a team that will not be a pushover, and they are going to create some issues for other teams. So I'll buy that they'll play some meaningful games in March. With that said, that will hopefully put them towards next year, propel them towards more goodness next year.
All right. Well, I'm going to be the third one with a buy here. So we went from REO Speedwagon to NSYNC. It ain't no lie, baby. Bye right here for the Devils. Because I like this. And I agree with what you guys are saying. And I think it's very important. You're never going to say it inside the room to your players, and we all know this from playing the game. But what constitutes a win this year for the Devils? That's playing meaningful games come late season. That will set them up. Sure, making the playoffs, yeah, that's icing on the cake. I think this team is good, set up for the future, but I don't think they want to see some meaningful games being played down the stretch here. So that's what I got.
By the way, I used to listen to the BJs to fire me up going to the game in the 80s. I never admitted that back then, but I just want to throw that out there. And REO Speedwagon.
I'm not sure. The BGs or BJs?
BGs.
BGs.
Staying alive, staying
alive.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Butterfly collar. I can see it right now.
Billy, you knew where I was going, right? I did, and that's a true story.
I believe you, and I trust me. I'm laughing with you.
We all had our routine.
That's
Rapper,
outstanding.
Since we were bringing up music and everything, I thought I'd throw that in there.
That's you know what? We are music connoisseurs around here. So.